Good evening, everyone. It's your brother from another mother that surely ain't got no other. It's AB.Marley here.
And it's your girl Nevaeh, your sister from another mister, because
Papa was a rolling stone.
And today is Monday. You know exactly why we here.
Happy Mindset Mondays, everybody.
Already know. Alright, so today's letter is N.
For no.
No.
Yes, N for no. You better learn how to say no to somebody.
No. Alright, so saying no is a really big thing that I think a lot of us don't practice. Most of us usually just go ahead and do things for other people because we know that it would just be easier for us to try to make someone else happy instead of ourselves. And instead of us being true to ourselves, we'd rather just give in.
Well, you mean just basically, you understand where somebody's coming from and you want to help them out as much as you can. And sometimes you got to put yourself in check because you can't help out everybody. You just got to learn how to say no to certain things.
Of course.
It's like, you got to know the difference between how much money am I willing to get to sacrifice a part of my sanity. When can I say no? How much time am I willing to spend with somebody and have to tell them no? If somebody asks me for a favor, or if I'm working at a job in any different aspect, you gotta learn what your limit is. You gotta start telling people no. When you start telling people no, watch how they react to things.
Oh, definitely.
And you know who your people are.
My favorite is when you tell somebody no and they act as if that one time you told them no, like you ain't never did nothing ever for them. How many times like you was at work and you had a coworker come up to you and you always switch shifts, right? Or let's say you always pick up a shift for them or something like that, and then they come to you one day and like, hey, AB, can you take my shift for me? This is that. You like, no, I can't because I got some other stuff that I got going on. Come on. Like you did it last week. You did it the week before. Why can't you do it this time? You're like, no, man, I can't really do that. And once they go and turn to a whole another person, it's like a whole 360. Like, you know?
I've seen that at many jobs that I've worked at where I was always the yes man. And I usually am the yes man within that year time frame because I'm trying to keep my job. But then after a while, when my body starts to cave down or I figure I'm doing more than everybody else, I get to a point where I start saying no. And then I notice like, well, why are you saying no all of a sudden? Because you know what I'm worth. You know how much I've worked.
Exactly.
I put in the effort to prove to you. So I don't have to keep saying yes now.
Exactly.
If you don't like that, it's tough because I've been told no a long time in my life. You know, like when you're a kid and you look at toys and then you look at your parents and then you ask them for it. And a lot of times I was getting that, you ain't got that kind of money. That's a no. I had to live with that. So if I got to live with it, you better too.
Exactly. I think a lot of people don't realize how much power is in no.
Form of rejection, that's all.
No, yeah, just a form of rejection, period. Because, like I said, most of us really don't want to have to deal with conflict. We don't want to have to deal with issues or, just even getting on a person's bad side. So it's so much easier for us to just bend and settle and then just be like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. But if this is something that you truly and honestly don't want to do or something that you're not comfortable doing, then you should say no. And if that person cannot respect the fact that you said no, then that's good that they showed you that, because that person does not belong in your life because they don't respect you.
Make sure you actually verbally say no. Don't just expect someone to read your mind and go like, well, I said no in my head like multiple different times. Why weren't you listening? It's like
not even just saying the word no, but sometimes you gotta follow through with action too.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes you definitely gotta follow through with action. Because some people they'll try, and even if it's like whether it would be dating, whether it has something to do with sex, whether it's work, whether it's parent child relationships, Even friends.
Just basically follow through with what you say. Your actions speak louder than your words.
Exactly.
Sometimes when you just say no to somebody and then you go ahead and do it for them anyway, it's like, did you just tell me no a moment ago? So why did you change your mind? And yes, I get it. It's a little easier to speak into existence what we want, but actually taking the action to do it is a different matter at hand. But you have to stay firm in what you believe in, because if you let this slide, people that come behind that individual that you felt like was doing you wrong, or in the sense you didn't feel like you wanted to help them in this particular moment, and they show you who they really are, it's like, that's how you got to keep a watchful eye out. Not everybody's your friend, not everybody's going to be working with you. You don't have to be on the side of the person that's above your head. But what you have to do is speak your truth and keep moving forward, because you spend too much time doing everything for everybody else and you forget who you are along the way. And I'm only speaking from my personal experience. Like, I've been that person that says yes to everything, and I would get so frustrated at certain things because I'm like, why did I say yes? Why couldn't I say no? Or like, they're like, I had a friend that didn't have no way to get home, and it's like their house is like say like off Lewis, you're on 23rd, you're trying to get to all the way down to where like the houses are at next to Walmart. You know what I'm talking about?
I know you're talking about there by Waterford.
Yeah. So all the way out there, and they was just like, can you come, pick me up and then drop me off over there? And it was like, I said no to myself, but I ended up getting up and going and taking them anyway, and I was very frustrated. It wasn't particularly at them, it was just the fact that I had just did something else for somebody.
Right, and you didn't want to do it for them. It didn't necessarily have nothing to do with them, but it was just the fact that you had been in another situation and you didn't want to go to another situation.
Exactly.
I understand that, 100%. I mean, it's
difficult at times.
It is difficult at times because, when you really tell people no and you really say like, this is something I don't agree with, or this is something that I don't want to do, or I'm uncomfortable, or whatever the case is, like, just trying to move on can also be difficult after that too.
Oh, you mean like in a relationship where you decide to say no and that it's over with, so when you try to go your separate ways, you're trying to keep yourself from going back, so you have to constantly tell yourself no?
No.
Hey,
no means no. No, I'm kidding. No, but seriously, like, I mean, we can have like a whole like jingle. No, no, no. Okay, for real though. Seriously though, but like, I saw you about to start grouping.
Nope. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm willing.
I mean, sometimes like even like if you are dealing with someone who was like a superior to you, like a boss, or even if it's a parent or like a guardian or a teacher or something like that, and you don't feel comfortable talking to that person and telling them how you feel,
right,
you can always bring someone with you to help de-escalate the situation if you feel like it would be conflicting.
But then you also got to make sure the person that you bring is not going to escalate it.
Yeah.
Either. It depends on who you bring, because I've come to notice that there are too many sides to different people.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Like a Rubik's Cube. Which one you gonna get this time?
No. I don't mean I just noticed. What I'm saying is, like, I started recently paying attention to people around me when things happen, and I was like, whoa.
Of course, because what you don't realize is that, everybody is different around other people depending on who they are. And that's not for everyone. That's just for maybe certain people, because they feel like they have to adapt to certain situations or certain people to be
basically code switching for black folks.
Oh, I was just gonna say they was a chameleon, but whatever.
Well, for black folks, it's code switching because we can't be our true selves in a public place in certain areas just based on how some people perceive it. But instead of just being ourselves and just calling it.
I mean, not like that. I mean, like, all right, I know. Bear with me. Bear with me.
When she tells me that, I'm worried.
Because I know you've been in this situation before.
Which one?
How many times has someone walked up to you and said, "Ooh, I like your hair," and before you could even say anything, their hand is already like this, and then they might say, "Can I touch your hair?"
I remember one time I almost cussed some girl out for that. And it was like, I'm not a pet. I'm not an animal that you think is like this cute little fuzzy thing that you can just start petting like a motherfucker. But
Like,
I get it though. You're not around somebody like me. And
it's intriguing.
surprised.
It's interesting.
Right. But don't no.
Like I've had people that's come to me like, okay, obviously we know what my hair is. We know what it is. Okay, and like I have had people that did that to me, just come up to me, don't even say anything. It's just like a one swift motion, just like no, like don't don't do that. And sometimes, like, I'm not even gonna lie, I had a situation like this. So I went to a public place, and there's a woman that walked past me, and she's like, "Ooh, I love your hair. It's so beautiful." And then she was like in that swift motion again, like, and then she caught herself mid and was like, "Can I touch it?" And I ain't even going. I wanted to tell her, no, hell no, but because I didn't want to seem standoffish because I was in a public place and there wasn't too many people like me in there.
That's okay.
So I was just like, yeah, go ahead. And then like I went like to another area, and then like people were just like, "Oh my gosh, I love your hair. And is it real? Is it this? Is it that?" Like,
yeah, I get that question all the time about my hair. Is yours real or is that extensions? No, I just waited 10 years.
I just decided to just beat the hair off the horse himself. No, but seriously, guys, though, like on a real serious note, saying no is definitely important. That is something that you really need to practice and getting into a habit of doing it, because not only will you feel liberated when you do it, but you will also be able to stand your ground.
You're gonna know what your limitations are and what is off limits. You have to learn how to say no, simply because it will stop you from being mentally, emotionally, and physically frustrated at yourself.
Yes.
That you're allowing people to run over you and you have become a yes man.
Or being manipulated.
That too. See, you know how like there's people who are yes men at a company, and they do everything and they go above and beyond for that person, and then there's a possibility that you don't get the job that you want. Is because your boss knows that you're never going to question anybody, no matter how big or important they are, and for that reason you're just going to remain at my side because that's all you're good for, compared to someone who is willing to challenge me,
but
how I view things.
And see the thing with that is that what people don't even understand is that everybody has their own breaking point. Everybody has their own limit. Everybody has a point to where they're just like, I can't take this no more, and I'm gonna voice my opinion and speak. And you guys who, I'm talking to the person that's more so trying to push the issue or trying to force something, you have to understand that not everything is for everyone. And just because it may be something you want to do, or maybe something that you're comfortable with, or something that you have experienced, or maybe you have not experienced and you want to, that doesn't mean that this person wants to do that either.
Basically, think about it like someone who's scared of heights, and you try to bring them to a place where you're gonna be in a high place,
like a roller coaster.
Yeah, and they go like, "This is not for me. I don't want to be here." And then you get whether you get upset or not, you're just like, "Come on, it's not that bad. You're doing the most. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fine." It's like, I understand how badly you want me to go on this thing, and I appreciate you thinking of me, but I'm the wrong person to go to this place on a roller coaster because of my height issue. If I'm scared of heights and that's just who I am, then just leave it alone. Like, you can't force something upon somebody that they don't want to do, because at the end, if I turned around and did the same thing to you and forced you to do something that you didn't like, I don't want to hear you complain.
Exactly.
That's literally how.
Very, very difficult when it comes to just saying no and just being firm on what you do, because once you say no and you do stand firm, you cannot let it down, because the moment that you slip one time, whoever you've had this conversation with, then they feel like, well, because you let them slide once, that you're going to continue to let them do it. So once you stand firm and once you say what you need to say and you tell them no and you keep on pushing, let it be that. And if that person keeps on trying to pressure you, or they keep on doing whatever it is that's negative to you, and if you don't see that there's any progression, then you can try to go and get someone. But always just make sure that if you're going to do something, just make sure that it's something that you absolutely want to do. Not because someone wants you to do it, not because you're pressured, not because you may have been manipulated, not because you see everyone else doing it. Do it only if you want to do it. Even if it's your parents that want you to do something. That could be like going to college. Just because your parents maybe want you to go to a certain college doesn't mean you have to go there. And that's not what you don't want to do, then that's not what you want to do.
Don't let it build up all the way towards the end where you already have everything set in motion and then you say no. I mean, you can still say no in that moment because you're under pressure. But I'm saying, like, if you have ample opportunity to be able to say, this is not where I want to go. This is not the dream job that I want. This is not the thing I want us to do together. Then that's fine. But both parties must establish what are the pros and cons of what they like to do and what they don't like to do. And then you can slowly, like, okay, we can't plan these type of things on her side or his side and vice versa. So let's make sure that we build that foundation as we go.
Yeah, compromise is the best thing. If you are uncomfortable with something and you think that you can talk to that person and you can tell them that this is not something that you're comfortable with doing, you can always compromise.
You can compromise in other ways. I'm not just talking about just like emotional support goes a long way for somebody who's working as crazy as they do. If you can show some form of way to keep going for at least a while. Yeah,
definitely. With no's, you don't have to say no all the time. But you just have to get used to saying it, especially in certain situations.
Yes.
Especially in certain situations. And no matter what, if someone says no, no means no. It does not matter what the situation is. I don't care if you ask someone to go to the store with you and they said no. No means no. If they don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. Period.
No matter how deep you get into anything, anybody, whether it's sexual or non-sexual too. I'm just throwing that in there because sometimes people have a hard time. Even if you get to a point where you guys are about to do something and they say no, cut your ties, let it go, walk away, and it's just like, it is what it is. But you know, at this pinpoint, that situation was a non-comfortable thing. And you can find out later why it even led up to that point.
Exactly. That's where the compromise comes in. Because you talk. You have to figure it out. You can't compromise if you don't talk.
Now that I know what the situation is, we can have a conversation about it and we can see if we can work around it. If it's not that way, then it's just over and done with. And that's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean like that person is horrible or anything of those sorts. It's just like you figured out what you want.
This is also for all the grandparents and the aunties and uncles. I might be a little bit guilty because I'm an auntie.
I'm an uncle.
But if y'all got siblings or you got kids who might be grandparents, okay, I'm talking to y'all especially. We love the grandparents, but let's be real. If you are a grandparent and you're babysitting your grandchild and the parent of your grandchild says, hey, I don't give my kids snacks like sweets, juice, and candy and stuff, and then the grandparent goes and gives it to them, that ain't right. You ain't right.
They're just making up for lost time, you know that, right? Because
it ain't right though.
It ain't right, but they're just.
But that still goes with the whole no is no. Like if I say that I don't want my kid to eat this, don't give this to my child behind my back. because I know that someone has given it to my child, because then my child is going to come to me asking me about it. And it doesn't matter how much you tell a kid to say, don't say nothing to no one. They're going to tell somebody.
Somebody going to slip.
They're going to tell somebody.
Mm-hmm. But I do agree with you on that one. It's learn to say no, have your foundation, make sure that you compromise if you can, and then beyond that point, just say, I did the best that I could. And just to let you guys know that we have other platforms that we have for AB.Marley and Nevaeh. If you're going to Instagram, Snapchat, it's all the same. Go to AB.Marley. And that's what I got, except for Instagram, which is 28. So
it's just Nevaeh Plays for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's Nevaeh_Plays. That's pretty much all my social media, except for my Facebook. There is no underscores. It's Nevaeh Plays.
Right. Mine is AB.Marley, so it's all the way through all my.
Check out our video tomorrow for Tuesday. You just gonna have to figure out what the topic is when you check the video out tomorrow.
Most definitely. Alright, you guys, have a wonderful day. We'll catch you guys later. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'd like to know your opinions about our show. We would like to know how you feel about things as you continue to grow and evolve. Now, have a wonderful day. See you guys later.
Nevaeh out.
Deuces, motorcycles.
It's Monday. You know why we here. Time to get that mindset
right. Happy Mindset Mondays, everybody.
Indeed. So today's letter is in for
inspiration.
Do you not know the alphabet?
No. Oh, N for no. Goddamn. Damn.
I don't know if he actually knows how to use the alphabet correctly, but
I mean, the first two letters of my initial is A and B, so I should know. But we're talking about acronyms, Ninja. I skipped I. What you want me to do?
We did I last week.
Right, but
I see you.
No, I skipped I. For the acronym. Remember, you posted everything and had all that. I checked out for like a week. Maybe 2 weeks.
All bad. So, back. Today's letter is in for no.